All right, good morning. Welcome to the Q3 Anchorage market recap. I'm going to dive into what exactly is going on in the Anchorage real estate market. So often we hear stuff on the news, we see stuff in social media, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you guys the exact actual data on this, and we'll roll through this so you can know exactly what's happening in the Anchorage real estate market. So the first thing that we're going to start with, I guess some rules on this if you've never watched these before. All this data is from the MLS, the Multiple Listing Service. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you all the information and then some interpretations to it as well. And if you have any questions on this, don't hesitate to reach out. And if you would like this slide deck, just comment in the comment section stats, and I'll be able to send this to you. So we're going to go through what's happening in the municipality of Anchorage. We're going to go through residential. We're going to go through land, condos, and multifamily, and we're going to do it in a fairly quick fashion. And so if I go too fast, you can rewatch it or just reach out and I can send you all this information. So the first one that we're going to look at is residential sales. We always look back 5 years just to see, is this good? Is this bad? Where is this in line with what we have going on so far? So this year so far in residential sales in the municipality of Anchorage, volume is up compared to last year. It's up 7%. Units are up about 3.94%, and then the average sales price is up 3%, up to 528. So you can see that here. We want to take a look at the active listings. So the active listings are the blue line, and excuse me, sold listings are the yellow line. And so we can see active listings. We have quite a bit less active listings now than we did, say, back before 2020. And so right now, this year, we've had a high number of active listings at like 425, and that was in August, and a low of 211 in February. And we can see in September, we started getting less active listings. And then sold listings mirror that. And then you can see the gap in between are the homes that are failing to sell, either failing because of poor marketing, incorrect pricing, maybe lack of accessibility. But overwhelmingly, the case is homes are hitting the market and selling. You can see the gap between active and sold is much smaller than at other times in the past. So it's a great time if you're thinking about selling your home and are worried about it because of something that you've seen on the news. It's still very much the case that buyers are buying and there's plenty of people out there looking. Months of inventory, we're still sitting below 2 months of inventory. And when we look at this, we consider 6 months to be a balanced market. Anything below that, and the sellers have some of the upper hand and are have the advantage when they're selling, and it's a little bit more difficult for buyers. And what's interesting here is in this industry, a lot of people talk about stuff like, remember how it was back during COVID, back during 2020? And the reality is when you look back is we never really regained inventory compared to what was going on back then. Days on the market, how long does it take a appropriately priced home to sell? And we're right at about 10 days on the market for a well-priced, well-marketed home to receive an offer. So again, if you're thinking about selling and worried about it taking too long or just concerned, hopefully this is enlightening for you. You can see 10 days on the market. That's not too bad to entertain showings and get an offer. List price to sales price shows the negotiating power. And all year long, we've been right between 99 and 101%. And that's still the case now, where you list your home at an appropriate price, get a good offer, and move on. You don't have to spend a lot of time back and forth in negotiations. So summary for residential, units are up, volume is up, average sales price is up. And then you can see kind of the history on all those other ones. Okay, we're going to do the same thing and we're going to go through with condos. And so condos, the sales volume is up about 6.85%. Units are up 1.14%, and then average sales price is up 5.3. So average sales price on a condo in the municipality, 293,000. And so you can look at this and you can look at what's the true cost of waiting. So if you would have bought a property in 2021, on average 227, now it's on average 293. So if you've been on the fence and you're like, well, maybe I should buy, maybe I shouldn't. History shows that those who go ahead and buy, as long as they can afford it and as long as they have appropriate reserves and all that kind of thing, it ends up working out well for them. Okay, so number of listings for condos, we can see what's going on in the market based on the gap between active listings and sold. And for a long time in the municipality, for the last couple of years, it's been the case that condos hit the market and fly off, and there's so much pent up demand. And we can see a bit of that starting to change in the later half of this year, where some more condos are hitting the market and not as many of them are selling. Certainly not as wide of a gap as we've seen in the past, but it's something to take note of. Months of inventory still below 2 months, so very firmly in a seller's market. Days on market just right above 10. And so again, a well-priced, well-marketed condo will sell in the first 2 or 3 weeks on the market. And the ones that are still sitting on the market, maybe it wasn't priced well, maybe it wasn't marketed well, or maybe it's not very accessible, or maybe some other thing going on with it. List price to sales price. Buyers for a time were paying over asking price to get a condo, and we're right at asking price right now overall in the whole market. So summary for condos, increase in units, increase in volume, increase in average sales price, and number of active listings. We have more active listings in this space than we have in a while, and you can see the rest of the stats there. We're going to take a look at new construction. This is all the new construction that was sold through the MLS in the municipality. And so we can see a total number of listings sold, and kind of the breakdown. It looks like most of them are being built in that 3 to 4 bedroom space. Average list price for 4 bedrooms is right there at $889. For 3 bedrooms, $573. And then you can see the data there. What's interesting about this is the big decline in new construction being built in Anchorage since 2013. And this year we're right at 85 new construction homes built and sold compared to 86 last year. And then you can see similarly, the red graph is the valley, the blue graph is Anchorage, and you can see that there. Year over year change, it's pretty striking year to date. And so year to date, the Valley is up 24% for new construction, and Anchorage is down 9.5%. This one's always interesting to see what happens as we close out the construction season, and when we do our next quarter update, which will be a whole year in review. It'll be interesting to see how this one shakes out. The last one we want to take a look at, let's see. Actually, we want to look at land, and then we're going to look at multifamily. So land sales are up 35% in volume, up 1.6% in units, and that is just big increase in average sales price. So the average sales price for a piece of land in the municipality this time period is $209,000. Number of listings compared to the sold, we have a pretty big gap there. Looks like right around 250 active listings on the market right now. Months of inventory, we're sitting right at about 30 months of inventory. And then days on the market for properties that are selling is still under 50. So if you are listing a piece of land and it's marketed well and priced correctly, it should be under 50 days on the market. And then list to sales price, most sellers of these pieces of land are getting right at about 97%, 98% of their asking price. So summary for land, 121 units, so increase in units, slight increase in units, pretty big increase in volume, and that's because of the average sales price is up quite a bit. The last one we want to take a look at here for Anchorage is multifamily. And so multifamily is even for sales volume and down a bit for units sold, and a slight increase for average sales price. So sitting right at that 133 million. And you can see kind of what that looks like over the last 5 years looking back. Number of listings is growing, which is good for you if you're an investor and you're looking for properties. It's been kind of challenging to find them, but there's more and more available. Months of inventory are still pretty low. There's more and more available, but they are moving. Days on the market is still less than 10, and this is for properties that have accepted an offer. And so if you've got a multifamily and you're like, man, I'm just going to wait, I don't want to sell it yet, the market's junk, take a look at some of this and consider reaching out. If you're willing to do the right things to get your property prepped for the market, you could be under contract in a couple weeks. List to sales price is pretty close to that 100%. And here's the summary: slight decrease in units, slight decrease in volume, slight increase in average sales price. And so you can see that there. So summary, sales activities up across most properties. Average home prices have risen again. Inventory is still pretty low regardless of which segment you're looking at. Market has stayed firmly in the seller's territory. Homes continue to sell with low days on the market. List to sales prices remain strong. So we always like to look at this stuff and kind of strip out everything that we hear in the media. So for buyers, here's some action items. Hire a great agent who can unlock that inventory for you. For sellers, hire a great agent who's paying attention to the market trends and can help you in today's market. And then the third one, disregard the news. There's a lot of stuff going on. Pay attention to what you can control. So if you would like a copy of this slide deck, or if there's anything I can help unpack for you, certainly reach out to me and I'd be happy to talk with you about it. All right, thanks.